Hello again. I thought it was high time I did another book haul video. I've only ever done one before, but that was before my kind of hiatus from YouTube at the first half of this year. So I've picked up so many books over the summer months and a little bit before that as well, either from charity shops, car boot sales, or I've been gifted them on various occasions from family. So I thought I'd work through a bunch of those. Too many, in fact. I'm a little bit concerned about the strain my desk's under at the minute, so we'll try and get through some of these quite quickly. Some I know a little bit about, or some I've been looking for quite a while. Others I've picked up either because the blurb on the back sounded interesting, or maybe there's particularly high praise for it. So there's a real mixture in here. Others where there's authors I've enjoyed stuff from before. So yeah, we'll work through them, but there's a lot to get through here, so I'm going to crack on. The first three are a trilogy, I believe, called the Broken Empire trilogy. I think I've got that right. By Mark Lawrence. The first is Prince of Thorns. Second one is called King of Thorns, and I believe the third is Emperor of Thorns. I don't know a huge amount about these three, other than I think they're classed as dark fantasy. I can kind of guess what that means, but as I've spoken before about fantasy, like it's a genre I've always wanted to get into, but know next to nothing about. I haven't really kind of delved into it too much before, so yeah, really looking forward to trying some more in that genre. One of which I've spoken about before, the Discworld series. One of the ones I didn't have is the Amazing Mauric and his Educated Rodents. So it's another one to tick off the list. I really must start reading some of Pratchett's books at some point, but yes, still lots to find, but I've got a good number on the shelves now, so good to tick another one off the list. A couple of poetry books, actually kind of humorous poetry. Tim Key, somebody I really like, comedian, actor, was in a wonderful, kind of co-wrote and starred in a wonderful film recently called The Ballad of Wallace Island, which I would recommend very highly. This is a number of poems he wrote when he was in the US to film a TV show, which is a spin-off from the US office, actually, called The Paper. I was lucky enough to be able to go and see him do a Q&A around his film and this book, and get it signed and meet him, so that was very cool. Somebody he has interviewed before online on YouTube is a comedian called Burnham, who has also done this book, Egghead, or You Can't Survive on Ideas Alone, which is also looks to be, I picked this up yesterday actually at a car boot sale, kind of short passages, poems, and illustrated by Chance Bone. So that one looks interesting as well. What else have we got here? Also over this weekend, I picked up, this is one I don't know anything about, Plainsong by Kent Haruf. Yeah, just this was one where the kind of praise on the back really kind of caught my eye. So yeah, I'm going to delve into that one at some point without knowing much about it, and hopefully I will enjoy it. This book by Milan Kundera, author of The Unbearable Lightness of Being. I haven't read any of their work, but this is Immortality, another one I know very little about, but seemed to be well praised as well. So this is another one that will go on the shelf for a while, I'm sure, and I'll pick it out at some point, and fingers crossed it's a winner. The Tangle, another one. It's just described as kind of folk horror. A bold and thrilling sci-fi folk horror, kind of about like a haunted woodland, I think, that can kind of absorb time or people or all sorts of different things like that. So yeah, that sounded interesting as well. Sorry, I've not got a huge amount of knowledge about some of these. Similarly, Ham on Rye by Charles Bukowski. I think I've only got one of the Bukowski book, but I haven't got round to it yet. Factotum, I think, is the only one I've got. I might be wrong on that. I might be wrong, but that's the only one that's coming to me at the minute. But yeah, another author I've wanted to explore. So whenever I see anything by some of these authors that you know are very highly thought of, I try and pick them up if they're cheap enough. So that's that one. I'm gonna pop that down there. And then I've always wanted to read this as well. I've always heard interesting things about this. Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, an inquiry into values by Robert M. Pirsig. Again, kind of know vaguely the premise of this, about a motorcycle journey between a father and his son. But that's about all I know, really. But again, I know it's very highly thought of. Let's move some of these out of the way, and I'll move on to a section of books that I've had bought for me, because I'm very lucky. for Father's Day, my son, knowing I've been trying to get a little bit fitter recently, I've been doing a lot more walking, trying to get more exercise, and lose a little bit of weight. He was kind enough to buy me this book by Annabelle Street's 52 Ways to Walk, The Surprising Science of Walking for Wellness and Joy, 1 week at a time, to encourage me to carry on with what he saw as the good work I'd started doing. So that was a really, really thoughtful, lovely gift. So yeah, that's one I will tuck into very, very soon. And then for various occasions, my wife has also bought me a bunch of books. Either she's seen them in charity shops when she's been out and about, or for my birthday or our anniversary. There's a bunch of stuff here. So, Foster by Claire Keegan, which is supposed to be superb. I really, really loved Small Things Like These, which I spoke about in a video at the end of last year, I think. That'll be a really quick one to get through again, much like Small Things Like These. So, I will definitely get to this one sooner rather than later as well. The Minds of Billy Milligan, non-fiction by Daniel Keyes, who wrote Flowers for Algernon or Algernon. I never know how to pronounce that, but I read that book a while back and found it really devastatingly brilliant. This is a non-fiction book about somebody who was accused of a very serious crime who took the defense of having like just a number of different personalities, and I think it's an exploration of like how realistic that claim was and everything that went around that. So yeah, the first man to use multiple personality disorder in an insanity defense. So yeah, I'm really interested in reading that. That sounds fascinating. A colleague at work recommended this book to me, The Book of Coley by M.R. Carey. It's a first book in a trilogy. I mentioned it to my wife. She very kindly bought me this off the back of that recommendation. And then subsequently, after receiving that, I found this, the second book of 3, The Trials of Coley, in a charity shop. So some more kind of fantasy sci-fi to go on the shelf. And hopefully I'll dig into some of those recently. Not recently, at some point in the future. I know what I meant. It's kind of the same thing in the future rather than in the past. I don't know what I'm on about. Stoner by John Williams. This is supposed to be really, really quite excellent. Another one my wife kindly bought me after I saw numerous recommendations for this. The story of a man who kind of, I believe, is kind of just sleepwalking through life, kind of bumbling from one situation to another, not really having a purpose, I think, and kind of finding his purpose as he goes along his journey. Yeah, sounds like it's a slow-paced book, but one I think will speak to me, so I'm looking forward to giving that a go as well. This hefty tome was recommended actually in a comment on a previous video, which I was very, very, very appreciative of, and that is Swan Song by Robert McCammon, and I have subsequently seen lots of praise for this elsewhere as well. A huge book, a huge old book. But yeah, that is something, as I say, it was lovely in one of my earlier videos, very, not a huge amount of views. It was lovely just to have any comments at all, and somebody took the time to recommend this. So I thought, yeah, fantastic that my wife picked up on that and found that for me as well. Again, I think she happened to find this at a car boot sale. So that was lovely. Really, really nice. Pop that one down. And then this one looks really, really interesting to me as well. Horror Store by Grady Hendrix, which is actually a novel, but obviously laid out like an IKEA catalogue, which I thought was really, really interesting. So yeah, it is mostly prose, but there are illustrations and kind of layouts and kind of almost like furniture diagrams and what have you in there as well. So yeah, a really, really interesting kind of treatment that I am looking forward to exploring. So yeah, it's another lovely gift. Okay, what else did she buy me? Oh, yes. On the Calculation of Volume by Sylvia Ball. This is a book that is almost like the kind of received shorthand for it is, it's a bit like Groundhog Day, the old movie, about a guy, that film is about a guy who is reliving the same day over and over again, and much like this, the protagonist of this is a woman who keeps waking up on the 18th of November, and most things seem to have reset, and she is trying to work out why it's happening, if it is actually happening, or whether she's having some kind of episode. Yes, I found the premise really, really interesting, and a friend of mine also recommended it to me. So, yeah, again, my wife very nicely picked up on the fact that I was interested in it and bought it for me, and then I have subsequently bought the second one because I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy the first one. Third one, I believe, is out on November the 18th over here in the UK, fittingly. So yes, hopefully I enjoy those two, and then I will pick that up as well. And then I think another one my wife bought me, Frankenred by Matt Coyne. I think this is about a kind of curmudgeonly, grumpy old man. Can't think why on earth she would buy that for me, of all people. I'll move on from that. But yes, very nice. And then what else have we got here? Oh yes, the last one again. The last one that my wife bought me from this huge pile. I think Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. Ishiguro is an author who I have read 2 books by, Never Let Me Go and The Remains of the Day, and I absolutely adored both of them. I've spoken about them both on previous videos, so I am very much interested in reading everything else Ishiguro has ever done. The same friend I was talking about earlier on said this is an all-timer, and he thinks this will be right up my street. So very, very keen to see if I can make it 3 for 3 for delightful Ishiguro books. So yes, another very lovely and thoughtful gift from my wife. And since then, I've picked up some other Ishiguros. So we've got When We Were Orphans. Yesterday, I found Nocturnes, which is kind of 5 short stories, I believe. And then also The Unconsoled. This one here. So yeah, I think I now only, because I already have, as I say, The Remains of the Day and Never Let Me Go. I think Ishiguro's first 2 books are the only ones I don't have at this point. But yes, I will keep an eye out for those as well. Let's pop those down. Okay, we're getting through them. Oh yeah, Of Mice and Men is something I talked about in a previous video, so I've picked up another couple of Steinbecks because yeah, very much enjoyed that book. Sweet Thursday there, and East of Eden, which I know is very, very highly thought of. So yeah, they are another couple that I will be delving into at some point. The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. We have Circe already in the house, but again, where I'm pretty confident I'm going to read several books by an author, I like to work through from the first one they released. I know it's not necessary unless it's a series, but it's just a thing that I can't help a lot of the time. So yes, glad to have found that, because I was looking out for that for quite a while. I'll be reading that, and if I enjoy that as much as I think I will, I'll be jumping into Circe as well. Okay, I've picked up some John Irving books. It's another author where there are certain books by them that I hear are amazing. There are others that my friend, the same friend I've mentioned a couple of times, has recommended, thinking I would enjoy. One in particular being The Hotel New Hampshire, which I've managed to find. I've already got The World According to Garp, The Cider House Rules, and A Prayer for Owen Meany. I haven't got Garp, that's a nonsense. I don't have Garp, I'm still looking for Garp, sorry. A Prayer for Owen Meany is the one that's supposed to be absolutely brilliant, as well as this, according to my friend. But yes, I haven't read any Irving yet. But there's that one. I've also picked up The £158 Marriage and The Water Method Man. So yes, a burgeoning John Irving collection. That another author I've got lots of books by that I have not read yet. But there you go. Okay, what else? Oh. Wool, Shift, and Dust by Hugh Howey. They were all set together in a charity shop a few weeks ago. Not very expensive to buy. I've been interested in these for a long time. I know there has been a show based on these recently, Silo, I think it's called. Is it known as the Silo Trilogy? I'm not really sure. But yeah, really interested to learn more about these as well. Self-published originally, I believe, and obviously went on to be a huge hit. So yeah, some more sci-fi for me to delve into. Okay, I mean there's still a lot to go. I'll be honest. Oh no, there are more books my wife's bought me here. I told a lie. Another one I've been looking for quite a while because I love the idea of it is Colorless Tsukuru Tazaki and His Years of Pilgrimage by Haruki Murakami. We've got some Murakami already on the shelves. Again, haven't got to it yet, but this one I love the idea of. It sounds a little bit similar, on a very basic level, to that movie, The Banshees of Inisherin from a while ago, in that it's about somebody who comes to find that his friend group have disowned him and he doesn't really understand why. And that just sounds like a really interesting premise to me. There's just suddenly a day where his friends have no interest in kind of talking to him, and he needs to unravel what's going on there. So yeah, like the sound of that. And then, we're getting into some dangerous territory here. If I enjoy these, some Brandon Sanderson. So, Tress of the Emerald Sea is one that I had heard would be right up my street, because I know that Sanderson has said that this was very heavily inspired by The Princess Bride, which is a book and a movie that I absolutely adore. So immediately wanted to give this a go. Now, what I talked about earlier on about wanting to read things in order and what have you, this is set in the Cosmere universe, as I understand it. I know there are all sorts of different books that go into that. I don't know whether this is something I can say. It feels like this is a standalone, but am I going to have issues further down the line in my head if I don't read other things first? Anyway, very delighted to have this. And then by complete chance, after she bought this for me, she also found it being given away, The Way of Kings, the first book in the Stormlight Archive. Yes, the Stormlight Archive. A huge book, and my understanding is that Brandon Sanderson's books normally look like this, or bigger, rather than that. So yeah, this is why I say it's potentially a dangerous path. We're already running out of space in the house because of all the books. Yeah, but I hear this is absolutely superb. So another one I should probably try and get to sooner rather than later. I mean, talk about intimidating though. A genre I don't normally read, and the start of a huge kind of universe. Yeah, but I'd like to get into it. Obviously, he's quite a popular author, and there's probably a reason for that. So yeah, another very, very nice gift. Okay, 3 more piles left to go through here. Let's try and speed things up slightly. Okay, so I've got Oranges Are Not the Only Fruits by Jeanette Winterson here. Yeah, supposed to be a classic. Don't know a huge amount about it other than the basic premise, so yeah, looking forward to that. The Revenant by Michael Punke. That's me using Arrested Development logic. Tobias Funke. Punke? I don't know. The Revenant, obviously there is a movie that was inspired by this book with Leonardo DiCaprio. I know there's a bear. It's about all I know. There you go. I have picked up a bunch of Ed McBain books from the 87th Precinct series, a series I read about years and years ago. Loved the idea of a kind of a series of kind of police procedural novels, all based in the same universe, talking about different detectives and kind of stuff that wouldn't necessarily follow on to the next book, but might get picked up a few books down the line kind of thing, and recurring characters. Really liked the idea of that. So we've got Where There's Smoke, we've got The Empty Hours, we've got Hail, Hail, The Gang's All Here, Sadie When She Died, The Pusher, and Doll. And I think there's another one somewhere, but yeah, I mean, you get the idea. The Bonfire of the Vanities by Tom Wolfe. Again, I don't know a huge amount about this other than I think the main character is a kind of Wall Street character. I don't know why I'm saying that. I don't even know. But yes, supposed to be very, very good indeed. A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan. Again, something I've heard lots and lots of good things about. I think it won... What did it win? Pulitzer Prize. The Pulitzer Prize in 2011. A Pulitzer Prize for fiction. So yes, this is one I've seen out and about a couple of times, and I've decided to go for it when I saw it most recently. Looking forward to that. What Dreams May Come by Richard Matheson. I've read one Matheson before. It wasn't like... I wasn't as good as I thought. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, interested in this. I believe this is kind of around the afterlife. And again, I know there was a film of this in the 90s with Robin Williams, I think. But yeah, again, very highly praised. There we go. We've got some non-fiction here. The Premonitions Bureau by Sam Knight. This is about... yeah, kind of organization set up to kind of use almost kind of psychic abilities, I think, to predict what's going to happen. And I love any kind of stuff like that kind of investigation into some of these kind of shady underground bureaus and departments that we don't necessarily know about. So yeah, that sounds cool. George Orwell, Down and Out in Paris and London. What else have we got here? The Five. So this is The Untold Lives of Women Killed by Jack the Ripper. So this is by Hallie Rubenhold. And this is, yes, talking about the lives of the women who were victims to Jack the Ripper and who were maybe not really thought about as much or talked about as much as they should have been at the time. So yeah, that sounds really interesting. Also, I got two books by Oliver Sacks. The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat, and An Anthropologist on Mars. I saw this book in a bookshop probably 15 to 20 years ago and was really fascinated by the premise. And at the time, I was a little bit hard up and I thought, I almost bought it. I thought, you know what, I'm going to leave it. And then forgot all about it for years and years. And I saw that recently again in a charity shop and thought, right, I'm having it. This is all about kind of different neurological conditions. I think these are both based on kind of case studies he's either worked on or come across, and how different neurological conditions have affected these patients, and some of the kind of fascinating insights off the back of those. So yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, what else have we got here? Another author I'm very keen to explore, and there is a book by this author called Cloud Atlas, which I would very, very much like to read. But before I can do that, because as I've spoken about, I want to read stuff by an author from the start. I've been picking up some other books by David Mitchell. The Bone Clocks, which is another one that the friend I've mentioned a few times in this video has said to me I will absolutely adore. So very happy to find that one, cheap at a car boot sale as well. And then the friend in question had two copies of Mitchell's first book, Ghostwritten, and has very kindly given me one. So that is something I will definitely look to be reading quite soon. Another author I would like to read is Julian Barnes. I've picked up a couple of others. The Noise of Time. And this one has two books, Flaubert's Parrot and Talking It Over. I think I've actually got Talking It Over separately, so that's probably a little bit of overkill, but there you go. Oh, and another biggie. House of Leaves, which is supposed to be incredibly challenging to read, but yeah, fascinating also with the layout of the book. The layout changes from page to page. Sometimes it's like a screenplay. There's just, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff going on with this book apparently. Yeah. Then you've got kind of different documents inside as well. Yeah, this is a book I've heard a lot about over the years and always thought, it sounds fascinating, but I don't think I would buy it. Certainly full price, because I just think I don't know if I'm going to like it. But this was like 50p or something. No, in fact, it wasn't. This was given away. There was a giveaway not very far away from us a couple of weeks ago. We spotted way late in the day, so a lot of the books had gone. But we thought, oh, we'll go over and have a look. And there were a few there that we picked up. There was this, and there was also, let me pop that down a sec, some books by Colson Whitehead, which I heard, again, another author I'd heard really good things about. The Underground Railroad being the one that kind of is most celebrated. But there was also Crook Manifesto and Harlem Shuffle. So I thought I'd pick all those up as well. There are others that will sort of go on the ever-increasing backlog. We're almost there. We're almost there. Airframe by Michael Crichton. I've never read a Michael Crichton book. Obviously, I know Michael Crichton from Jurassic Park, but also wrote loads of other stuff. And I was involved with ER, the TV show. But obviously a very, very celebrated author. This is the only Crichton I own, but this was in like I think like a 4 for £1 deal or something. So this was like a make weight, where there was 2 or 3 others that I really wanted. But yeah, I thought this would be a good one to pick up and maybe investigate. Okay. This is a book that I've been looking at for ages and ages, and I thought I'd find it really quickly, and it's taken me a long old time. Very, very, very well thought of. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. And as soon as I found it, of course, I've seen this 3 times in the last week in different places. But never mind. There we go. This is one I've wanted to read for a long time. About, I believe the main character is employed to burn books in a kind of dystopian setup where reading is banned. And he starts to question whether that's the right thing to be doing or what have you. A very simplistic overview, because obviously I haven't read it yet. Well, I might have that completely wrong, but I think that's the deal. I've been wanting to read that for a long time, and then 4 more left, but they are all part of the same series. Another set that I would like to read. I've only ever seen a couple of the films based off these, but it's the Hannibal Lecter series. So you've got Red Dragon, the first book, The Silence of the Lambs, which is obviously the film that everybody is familiar with, or most people are familiar with. Hannibal, and then finally Hannibal Rising, which I know wasn't as well received as the others, but for completeness sake, I thought I would pick up. So those have all been picked up kind of separately over the weeks. But yeah, a huge amount of books. I don't know how many that is. I think that is well over 60 books, on top of all these behind me and the ones we've got upstairs kind of spilling over everywhere. But yeah, I'm going to have to get completely nerdy, I think, and make a spreadsheet and catalogue what I've got and start to prioritise what I want to read soon. And I think that's what I'll probably do in the next video. Is I've never done a kind of TBR video before because I'm quite a slow reader. But since having kind of got back into it, I think maybe I'll be able to pick up the pace a little bit. So maybe I'll pick a few. It's not going to be like other people's where it's going to be like 10 books that I expect to get through in a month, because it's just not going to happen. But I'll try and be a bit more realistic with it and pick a few out that maybe I'd like to either get started or get through in September. So yeah, that's the plan for the next one. But for now, I'll say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. Is there anything in this ridiculous list of books that I should be prioritising, or anything by similar by authors of any of these books I've shown that I should look out for if I enjoy the one I've picked up? Any recommendations always very much appreciated. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll speak to you next time. Bye bye.